Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today I've got a glorious pile of vintage Commando comics to go through with you. So I suspect this is going to be a video with somewhat niche appeal. I think a lot of my viewers will not be interested at all in seeing a big stack of old British war comics. But I know that some of you will enjoy this. So if you clicked on that thumbnail to watch this video, hopefully you're one of those people. And I've got a glorious stack of Commando comics from the 70s through to the 90s to go through with you today. So I was just out today with my dad and we went to a vintage toy fair in the town he lives in. He was looking at model trains and stuff like that, but I discovered a stall that had this stack of vintage Commandos, and I said to the guy, he wanted 60p each, I said, I'll give you a tenner for the lot, and he was like, okay. So I got 28, I think, vintage Commando comics for £10, which seemed like an absolute bargain to me, even though one of these comics I've actually already got because it was recently reissued. So if you don't know, let me give you the history of Commando comics. So it started in 1961 and they've been in print, pretty much continuously since then. I don't know what we're up to now. I should have checked. Hold on, I've got some recent ones here somewhere. So this is from, I'm a subscriber, so this is one of the ones that has been sent to me this month. You get four. I think you get 4 every 2 weeks. This is number 5,900. And if you were to buy it in the shops, it would cost you £3.25. So the oldest of the ones I've got here is number 1,191 and it would have cost you 9p if you were to buy it in the shop. So a lot cheaper back then. I definitely remember these comics from when I was a kid, and DC Thompson, the publisher, also did a similarly sized comic. So they are, I think, 67 pages. Is it 67? Oh no, 63 pages. And they've always been this lovely little size. They're really nice to hold and read. So there used to be a sci-fi comic that was similar to these as well, called Star Blazer, that I really enjoyed. And it's like a single story each issue, basically. So no ongoing stories or anything like that. You just get one complete story each issue, and they are often really, really entertaining. So yeah, started in 1961, still going today. What they do nowadays, and I didn't realise that they had started, I kind of assumed they'd started doing this recently, is each month basically you get about half of them will be reprints of older issues and half of them will be new stories. But in fact, this oldest one, which is from 1978, inside, I don't know if you can see there at the bottom, it says first published 1969. So they were obviously doing the reprint thing even back then. And I guess that kind of makes sense, especially for a comic that's been going for so long, is that people will either, it's a comic, so mostly read by kids would be the assumption, and kids grow up and move on and read other things instead. Although I think with Commando, there are many people my age still reading it. So it kind of makes sense to recycle content a bit, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. The other thing that I thought was interesting, before I actually show you them properly, is, so as I've said, this first one cost 9p. So I thought, let me look through the stack, because they come across a variety of different years, and find the one that cost 18p. So this one came out in 1978, cost 9p. This one came out in 1983, so only 5 years later, and the price had doubled. Inflation in the UK, if you don't know, and I suspect it was probably true around the world as well, or in some other parts of the world, because of the oil crisis, inflation at one point in the UK during the 70s was 26.9%, which is insane. We worry about inflation at the moment, but back then, boy, it must have been crazy to live with inflation that high. Anyway, let me go through them. I might read the back of a couple, but mostly I'll just show you the covers, which are, as always, absolutely glorious. These definitely look like they've been well read over the years. They are very creased and somewhat battered. One of them's got a bit of a chew mark on it as well. But anyway, let's go through them. So this one is Death Patrol. Actually, let me read you. I'll read you the back of this one, and then maybe I'll read a few of the others as we go. Lieutenant Bob Hanson woke up instantly alert as a strong beam of an electric torch illuminated the dark corners of the cave he was sheltering in. Then he relaxed when he saw the men at the cave mouth when kitted out in British paratrooper uniform, for he knew these men were amongst the finest soldiers ever to see action. but his blood would have run cold if he'd known the secret of this special group and what they'd been trained for. Sounds good, doesn't it? Fantastic cover as well. Next up, we have the Old War Horse. The other thing that's great with these, which you don't get nowadays, is so nowadays inside the covers you get adverts for like other Commando things basically, but back in these old ones you get other stuff. So this one, for example, so quite a lot of them seem to have sports stars in. So here we have a motorcycle sports star from Kings Lynn called Paul Tyrer, British motor racing, and what do they call it? I can't even remember what they call it. Was it Speedway? Where the bikes go round, like dirt bikes go round and round and round an oval track. Was really big in like the 70s and 80s over here in the UK. And then at the back we've got a star of soccer, Colin Suggett. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but anyway. Right, moving on then. This one's got a really great cover and a very intriguing, it doesn't look like a normal Commando comic at all. So this is Mystery from the Past. In fact, I will read the back of this one as well, just because it looks so intriguing. But look at that cover, isn't that great? From the depths of space came a small piece of metal. Plunging through the icy blackness, it eventually came to rest on the planet Earth. Thousands of years passed and the metal lay undisturbed until AD 43, when the Romans invaded Britain. And one night by the campfire, a legionary noticed the metal's bright glow. He was soon to discover that this was no ordinary metal, for in some strange way it transformed him from coward into hero. As the centuries passed, the metal changed hands, each time giving its owner supreme strength and courage in battle. But none of them would ever know what part of the vast universe... Sorry, I'll start that again. But none of them would ever know from what part of the vast universe it had really come. Now, that's kind of make it sound like there might be some weird alien stuff going on as well. I will have to see when I read that one. Next up, we have Into the Wolf Lair. Or is it? Yeah, no, it's just wolf lair, but this is the one that is nicely chewed. That chewing, as you can see, has gone through several pages, not all the way to the back, but through a lot of pages. Oh, and here we have something different. So not a sports star on the inside of this one, but a BMW. But we do have a sports star at the back, a cricket star. Okay, next one is Jungle Magic, which looks like another slightly sci-fi weird one. What could it be, this strange plant-like creature which now held Private Horace Green in the eerie glow of its beam? Where had it come from? Why did it save the life of the little soldier more than once and strike down his enemies? No one would ever know the answers. So I guess there's no point reading this because it's not going to tell you the answer. Oh wow, there's another Star of Speedway here who is quite something. That's quite a set of eyebrows he's got. He looks like I don't know, is he like the Gallagher brothers' dad or something like that? He's definitely got a Noel Gallagher look to him, hasn't he? What have we got at the back? We've got another footballer at the back, Andy King. Right, let's keep going. Next up, we have A Soldier's Honour. Another great cover. This one is very kind of sun-aged, and it's got a Star of Wrestling, Pete Roberts, on the inside. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, a footballer at the back I've actually heard of, Gordon Strachan. Another great cover on this one, Attack from the Sea. It's like I don't know if this one came out in the summer, but it definitely looks like it should have done. Who have we got on the inside? Ooh, okay, this is pretty cool. We've got Weird Weapons of World War II. This is a Fascine mortar tank. And at the back, another boring football star. The hero was a fake is the next one. We've got some sort of runner at the back and a cricket star at the front. But I have to say the first panel for the comic is pretty cool. Next up, Witch Doctor, another one that looks like it might be slightly kind of supernaturally, or maybe just slightly racist. could be either. Oh, and there's a motorcycle at the back. This one's completely falling apart, so I have to be careful when I read this one. This is the first in their series of superbikes. We'll have to see if we get the other superbikes as we go. Next up, The Long Way Back. Who's on the inside of this one? That's a proper 70s moustache he's got going on there. And another Speedway star at the back, so it is Speedway. I was right. This one's pretty cool. This looks like a bit of a spy one. Running Scared. So you've got Big Ben and a gun that looks like it's got a silencer on it. And this one has no back cover, so I can't tell you who was on the inside of it. Next up, Shootout. Looks pretty cool. We've got bow and arrow as well as a rifle. Got anything interesting? Oh, this is fantastic. Another star of wrestling, John England, who is a very muscular chap. Isn't it amazing though that in the... So when did this come out? This came out in... Bear with me. 1981. And in 1981, this guy was so muscular that he was a star of wrestling. Whereas nowadays, just walking down the street, you see guys who look like that all the time. We do seem to have become obsessed with being big and muscular, which, as you can tell, I'm not. Right, next up, Valley of Flame, which features Sergeant Bull Moore, a tough veteran who'd been in more tight corners than he could remember. Oh, okay, we got warships of World War II at the start there. That's pretty cool. Next up, this is a good title, The Man Who Killed the General. I'll read you the back of this one because it sounds quite intriguing. Captain Dave Walker was a good soldier, one of the best. Then one night there was an accident on a lonely desert road, and the next day Dave found himself the most hated man in the British Army. And we got another warship of World War II, the Gladiolus. Or Gladiolus class, anyway, and then a footballer at the back. Next up, Shoot to Kill. Another nicely colourful cover. Nothing that interesting on the inside. Next we have the Commando and the Pilot. I have to say, I definitely feel like I'm going to need to wash my hands after handling these. They're kind of sticky. Next we have the Haunted Jungle, which looks pretty cool. We've got a cricketer. Oh, Viv Richards, heard of him. He was a very big deal when I was a kid. And who's on the other side? A tennis player on the other side. Next we have Run Rabbit Run. Oh, with one of the great sports stars, one of the great British sports stars of my youth, Daley Thompson, who, if you are of my age and in the UK, you will remember playing the video game Daley Thompson's Decathlon. And then at the back, Steve Davis, who is another huge star, so a snooker player. So that's a particularly good one. This one, Hero on Horseback, looks pretty cool. Someone's younger sibling got this copy and crayoned on the back, which is a nice little piece of history. Oh, there's a nice plane at the back, a Junkers plane. Okay, this is the one that I've already read. So this one was reissued very recently, and it was a really entertaining one as well. So it's Cowboy in Khaki. It's about an American soldier who ends up fighting with a British group. We've got Badge of Honour, the Black Watch at the back there. So they're educational as well as being entertaining. Next up, And Now Revenge, with a cover that kind of looks like a Western, but I think they are... well, they're twins. Let me read you the back. They were twins, tough men from the Italian hills. One was expert with a rifle and the other with his throwing knives. And they were going to need those weapons in their fight with the crooks who were trying to kill them. They were also going to need them to wipe out an evil Italian colonel and save the life of a German pilot and to save the life of a British pilot as well. That's slightly clumsily written back there. Oh my god. Okay, look. We've got Calvin Smart, who I've never heard of, but is a star of boxing, but looks a bit like the guy from The Office. What was he called? The one who was then in The Detectorists. And at the back, star of darts, Bobby George, who was very, very well known. And used to, when I was growing up, there was a pub in the town we lived in, and Bobby George used to come and do personal appearances there every so often. But I never got to see him, sadly. Right, next up, Big Bob and Little Pete. Oh, this is cool. So we've got equipment of the Second World War, number 14, the Bren light machine gun at the front there. And what have we got on the back? Oh, the de Havilland Mosquito at the back. So that is much preferable, I think, to having sports stars in, even if the sports star is Bobby George. Next up, the 5 tests. Now it's back to sports stars, sadly. Nothing very interesting there. Next we have Night of Vengeance. There's a footballer at the front. Oh, Barry Sheen, who is a very famous motorcyclist of my youth at the back. We're nearly there. We've got 3 more to go. So we've got Treasure of the Chateau. We've got some tennis player at the front and a footballer I've never heard of at the back. Fighting Blood. A cricketer at the front. Silvino Francisco, a snooker player at the back. Again, I've never heard of. And then finally, this is there's a big jump here. So this goes from, this one was 24p and this one was 50p. So I don't know how many years there are in between these two. Let's see. So this was from 86 and this was from 94. So only 8 years later. So a similar, it was 5 years before, hadn't it? And it had doubled. So, and then 8 years for it to double. And now, when was this? So this was 94. So 30 years later, and it's 6.5 times as much. So yes, a good track of inflation is Commando comic. Anyway, this is The Real War, which is very cool actually, because on the front is a tank, but on the back is like, I don't know, kind of Mongol hordes and somebody who appears to be in a spacesuit. When the GTEx challenges swapped electronic battles for real warfare, everyone was happy. Everyone except some of those who lost the games. Now, one such bunch of fanatics has decided to go back to the old ways. Okay, this one sounds quite cool. What have we got? So, I don't think we've got anything interesting in this one. Oh, actually, this is quite cool. So, we've got a Commando action file about the Falklands War, which took place during the run of the comics that I've just shown you. I wonder if they ever did any Falklands-based ones. I've got at least one Vietnam-based one. They tended to be set during the Second World War, but they did cover other conflicts at times as well. Anyway, that is my run of vintage Commando comics done. I'm going to definitely go and wash my hands before I touch any food. Hopefully you've stuck with me and enjoyed that. I suspect if you are of my age and from the UK, it's brought back some happy memories of random mustachioed sports stars and fantastic war comics. Anyway, I will leave it there and say, as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.